landscape opportunities. It's going to be really exciting. To join Mr. Sadamori on stage, we'd now like to invite the rest of our panelists. We have Shabini Suhaili, Group CEO, Sarawak Energy; Thomas Bob Lowe, Chief Financial Officer, Southeast Asia NG; William Jones, Dr. Vijay Swarup, Vice President of Research and Development, ExxonMobil Research and Engineering Company; Dr. Nuki Agya Utama, Executive Director, ASEAN Center for Energy. And moderating this panel, ladies and gentlemen, we have Kurt Donnelly, Deputy Assistant Secretary for Energy Diplomacy, Bureau of Energy Resources, Department of State, US. And of course, we'd like for you to pose your questions via the SIEW app, all right? Not to forget that. But just so you know, if you have something just hits you right there and then, we do have roving microphones ready at hand for you to pose your questions. I'm going to hand over the floor right now to Mr. Donnelly. All yours, sir.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. We have, I think, an exciting panel with lots of issues, I think, that we can discuss. Following the presentations of Mr. Relo, and then from the IEA, there's a lot of food for thought. A lot of issues have been presented to us. So we've had the introductions. So without belaboring it too much, I would like to pose just one question to the panel. We'll go down the row, and then give an opportunity for questions from the audience. And I think we'll run through the 30 minutes rather quickly, unfortunately. So, panelists, we've heard a number of important issues being raised by both of our speakers here. Lots of opportunities, but also a number of important challenges. The one that, of course, jumps out the most is this incredible growth of energy demand in the region. Sort of based on looking at that growth in energy demand, what do you see as the most important challenge facing the region, and then perhaps quickly an opportunity that you see in that same environment? Mr. Shuhail?
Thank you. Yeah. I think, going forward, business as usual in terms of energy development is not sustainable. So I think this morning I was at the CEO roundtable, and it was mentioned that the political environment is changing, and the public opinion is putting a lot of pressure on the regulators and also the private companies. And we are living in a time period where the customers and the stakeholders' expectation and standards are very high, and basically in terms of energy reliability and sustainability, particularly in light of climate change. Yeah? And I think we have, as the government and as a public entity, and I'm from Sarawak Energy, basically we are particularly integrated energy utility and power development company, 100% owned by the state government. And the regulators and the private sectors need to work together to ensure that we put in this what we call that development in terms of sustainable energy development. And for us in Sarawak, we are quite fortunate that we have quite good resources, sitting in a good place. We have a lot of hydro potential and other resources as well in terms of gas and coal. But today we are about 75% hydro in terms of hydrogen, our generation mix. And basically that has helped us in terms of driving this sustainable development, and as well affordable energy, because hydro is not only a renewable energy, it's very stable, it's very reliable, and it is one of the lowest cost and most efficient technology today.
Thank you. Mr. Borla?
I think much has been said about the challenges that are lying ahead of us. Indeed, a strong increase in energy need. What we see as the main challenge for the region is really the booming need in cooling. Thankfully, a lot of opportunities arise out of this challenge. We are seeing technologies that are able to provide cooling at a very efficient fashion. Solutions such as district cooling, for example, can help provide air conditioning to neighborhoods or cities using up to 40% less energy, which is absolutely substantial. So embedding energy efficiency solutions such as district cooling into the planning of new development is absolutely essential. We at NG, we see it as a very strong opportunity, and we are focusing a lot of resource in Singapore to develop such solution here, but also to address the overall region need. And I think it's very positive to hear today a lot the word energy efficiency mentioned. Because it's not only by providing more power, more capacity that we will manage to overcome the challenges ahead of us, but also it's about addressing the overall energy consumption. So energy efficiency is a great opportunity. And I think the fact that renewable technologies are becoming more and more competitive is also a very good thing and a very good driver for the future. This is why at NG we're really focusing on those two aspects of the equation, producing more and greener and helping our customers consume more efficiently. Thank you.
Mr. SIEW.
Yeah, first of all, thank you all for coming out. It's an honor to be on the stage with you all here today. You know, what you heard today is what we call the dual challenge, which is the growing demand for energy, which is really good because energy comes with prosperity. As you have improved quality of life, you need more energy. So it's a good news story that energy demand is going up. The challenge we have is how do we provide the energy while also addressing the emissions? How do you do this while reducing CO2? That is what is often called the dual challenge. And as you heard from the IEA talk, which was a very good talk, the opportunity here is in technology. This, at the core, is a technology challenge. We need a new set of technologies. And what this region has an opportunity to do, turn a challenge into an opportunity, is to come up with solutions for this opportunity. We believe that starts with research from a research organization. We believe it comes with technology. And one of the things that we are here talking about this week is working with universities in Singapore to not only come up with solutions for Singapore, but more broadly come up with solutions for this region. So it's a challenge, there's opportunities. We think a big focus area should be technology.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Sadamori.
I think I spoke long enough. Yeah, as the previous speaker said, we often say efficiency first. So improving of energy efficiency, that's kind of the no regret option. So so that's the kind of first priority. And second is of course the taking advantage of this the drastic cost declines in renewable generation sources. But as we go along this path and having the high share of variable renewables like wind and solar, the system integration is always the big question. But I think that this region is in a very good position. That there's a lot to learn from the preceding experiences of Europe or the what's happening in North America. So I think that the international cooperation on that front would be particularly important to enhance the deployment of renewables, and we are happy to support that.
Thank you. Mr. Tama.
Yeah, thank you. As a low-hanging fruits, a potential energy efficiency is one of the biggest important strategies that we can have right now. The challenges that we have currently is the involvement of the stakeholders in the industrial sectors, as well as the commercial, as well as the demand itself. Whether the gap is there, the introduction of technology is there, but the understanding to grasp the potential of the efficiency itself is still low. So by doing more capacity buildings on increasing the understanding on the importance of efficiency, reduction of the technology, it will be very great part to increase the potential of this efficiency itself. Another thing is that the transition of energy supply, where the power and fuel are two different things. The power sector is easier to change in terms of the transition of the technology. But the fuel part is a bit challenging. So we do have quite plenty of homeworks to do so. So I think that will be the challenge that currently we are facing.
Thank you. We have a lot of interest from the audience. Let me read a question for the panel. Southeast Asia is the only region where coal demand is expected to increase. What are the pressing actions that need to be taken, and how do developing countries balance this against economic needs? So the issue of coal, which I found quite surprising as well, the rapid increase of coal demand in the region. So I throw it open. Who would like to take a stab at this question? Please.
Yeah, I think in Southeast Asia there are areas where there are great potential for renewable energy. For example, in northern part of in Laos and in Borneo as well, on my island, we have a lot of resources for renewable energy, not only hydro but in terms of what we call it, water and solar as well. And I think that the key thing is we discussed as well this morning at length at the SIEW roundtable that it's about interconnection. So it's about sharing that renewable energy across the region from areas where you can have you can plan up a lot of renewable energy generation, and you can share it to areas where you don't have that potential. So so I think to me that's one of the key parts, and of course the other one is in terms of the leadership and what they call it, political will from the various government to get connected and to ensure that we have complete across Southeast Asia. We're starting to do that in Borneo now. We are already linked to West Kalimantan, where we are supplying our renewable energy from our hydros to West Kalimantan, and that is fueling a lot of economic development in that part of Kalimantan. And we are looking at connecting to Brunei, to Sabah, and we know that there are a number of potential for hydro in North Kalimantan, which could be connected to the rest of the region. And the island of Borneo could be the battery of the region.
At NG, we decided a few years back to completely go out of coal, phase out coal in our portfolio, and not develop anymore this technology. It was seen as a very bold move initially, but more and more corporates are following this trend. So we like to believe that there is no necessarily fate around coal for the region. And the path NG has taken, I think, is a very good example. There are alternatives to coal. And I think three components are playing a role into this alternative scenario. First of all, again, renewable energies are becoming very competitive, and the trend is continuing. So the growth of those technologies is set to increase as years pass. The second portion we are focusing a lot is the role of gas, which we found is a perfect complement to renewable intermittency. Gas is still a bit CO2 emitted at the time, but ENGIE is investing a lot in making its gas green. And in the midterm, we foresee that technologies such as biogas, biomethane, or hydrogen will allow to have a fully clean mix between renewable and gas. I think the third component I already addressed in the previous point is around energy efficiency and energy sobriety. So there are a wide range of technologies that exist or that are under development, which embed digital solutions, but also in the way we integrate our systems all together, that allow to significantly reduce the energy we consume to have the same level of quality as an output. So we don't deprive ourselves of anything, but we just produce and consume more efficiently. So by combining those three aspects, green production, clean mix with gas, and efficient consumption, we believe there is an alternative scenario possible against coal.
Thank you. Mr. Storr?
Yeah, just if you why coal, it's pretty straightforward. It's affordable, it's scalable, and it's transportable. And so that's why you see coal. Now, the challenge with coal is the emissions are high. And so as the IEA highlighted, a lot of this is about fuel switching. So get coal to gas. Gas is also scalable. It's also transportable. And with the right infrastructure and other pieces, it can become readily available in this region. The other thing that was highlighted earlier is the technologies. So fuel switching and technologies. So the technologies that can then be used for energy at scale include things like carbon capture. Of course, gas is going to have about 40% less CO2 than coal. So when you think about carbon capture, gas is more amenable to it. So I think it is understanding why coal, that's the characteristic task, and then think about fuel switching and technologies that can enable the fuel switching to occur faster.
Thank you. Mr. Sudhamari?
Well, I said that the ASEAN is rather unique in increasing the coal share in the energy mix, but the coal demand itself is also increasing in other parts of Asia, like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. And also, even in China, they stopped growing strongly, but also they're not going down so easy. So the coal is rather resistant because it's affordable, and of course the variable renewables are growing, but we still do need the conventional power generation to provide the flexibility to the systems. And as the previous speaker said, the coal is affordable. So we think that there will be some years that we will continue to see the coal. So what is important is exactly the technologies. It is possible to phase out the old inefficient subcritical coal power plants and increase the efficiency of the coal power generation itself. And in the long run, we will need to do our best to kind of switch to low emission.
Yeah, I do agree with everybody's sense that in ASEAN, it is rather difficult to have sudden changes. So we try to use the smooth changes in the sense that, of course, coal is still affordable resource right now. But currently we're doing very hard on the clean coal technology and also both energy of the power plant itself as well as the fuel upgraded technology, which is basically, for example, like gasification, torrefaction, as well as the unsolvent coal improvement to upgrade their caloric value. And also the introduction of the biomass on the power plant as well is still going on. So the smooth transition should be there rather than sudden changes, either to gas or either or other new technology.
Thank you. Another question from the audience. This I think is directed to Mr. Sudhamari, but I think it opens up a new topic. Is nuclear energy in Southeast Asia included in the IEA Sustainable Development Scenario? If you could answer that, and maybe we could open it up to the role of nuclear in Southeast Asia's future.
In terms of the role of nuclear, of course, overall nuclear is a kind of important kind of low carbon, low emission technologies. So we consider that it will be very important. Having said so we released the nuclear report earlier this year in May, and basically it says that the kind of lifetime extension of the existing nuclear, that's the cheapest option for acquiring the low carbon power generation. And also those advanced economies, they should do their best to maintain the capacity. Because if they go down, it's extremely difficult to replace them with the renewable sources. So our basic view is that the countries already using the nuclear technologies should take advantage of their low carbon the characters. But on the other hand, if the country has not started the program, they should be cautious because the increasing safety requirements and also the back-end costs, basically the nuclear costs for the new capacities are going up.
Others?
Well, I think one of the comments made in the speeches earlier is this is including everything. It is an all of the above game plan. Some could say it's the ultimate inclusion project. So nuclear will have a role. I think the exact volume of the role will be based on the comments we just heard. It's also a capital-intensive, long lead time to build nuclear plants. And so if you look out 20 years, I think nuclear will have a role. But again, as the demand grows at the pace it's growing in Asia, things like natural gas, solutions like that have a faster way to fill the growing demand. So I think it's all of the above. It's matching the technologies and then coming up with the energy plan for a specific area.
Others?
Yeah, I think nuclear is an option, but as mentioned, it does have its own problem as well. And I think for countries which have better alternative for renewable energy, I think we'll go for that. And for us in Sarawak, I think we have a good option in terms of hydro, solar, and as well in terms of even